Ladies and gents, welcome back to another video. In front of me is a 2017 5K 27-inch iMac. This is the device that I've been using to edit most of the videos that you've seen on my channel. And today I want to give it a fair shot. Let's talk about this thing and if it's a good value here in the end of 2023 and early 2024. So first off, let's talk about the specs of my iMac. Like I said, this is a 2017 5K iMac. It has the upgraded 3.5 gigahertz quad-core i7, has a Radeon Pro 575 with 4 gigabytes of VRAM. It has an upgraded 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and it has a 2 terabyte Fusion drive. However, that Fusion drive has been split, so we have the solid state portion of the drive right here, and the actual hard drive right there. When this computer shipped, these were combined into one logical volume. I have since split them and I have the operating system on the SSD, and I've been using the hard drive as storage for the completed videos from Final Cut Pro, which we can open here, and you'll see I have some different projects that I've been working on, including another 5K iMac over there. And this is where I've been doing a lot of editing. This screen has been great for viewing content, and truthfully, it's pretty quick, although it's not as fast as my current 2021 M1 Pro 16-inch, but it does just fine, and the 5K display has been phenomenal to work on and edit videos. But my export times have gotten really slow, and I just can't justify continuing to use this despite its beautiful display. So, now that we've talked about what I used it for, let's discuss if it's a good device for you to have. We'll begin with some benchmarks, and then we'll talk about the device as a whole and some of the pros and cons. First up, we have a disk speed test. So this is testing the speed of just the solid state portion of the drive, which is pretty quick, but it's not nearly as fast as any of the new Apple Silicon computers that you'll get. Those are at least 2 to 3 times faster in both read and write speeds. But there are no problems here with this drive, at least not for what I use it for. Now let's run the same test, but on the hard drive. So that was on the SSD. Now we're going to switch to the 2 terabyte hard drive, which I use as a storage for my finished videos. And you can see write speeds are 130, 140, even 150. That's pretty quick for a hard drive. And our read speeds are almost 200 megabytes. That's a lot faster than a hard drive you're going to find in a laptop unless you have an upgraded model. I don't think these are 3.5 inch. I'm pretty sure they're still 2.5, but this is probably the fastest hard drive I've ever seen. Now let's run Geekbench and we'll see how our single core and multi-core scores stack up against some more modern MacBooks and iMacs. All right, I ran Geekbench 5 and we got a single core score of 1,104, multi-core score of 3,468. Now I'm going to put some scores of, I'll probably do an M1 MacBook, I'll do the 2020 iMac, the i5 configuration, and I'll go ahead and throw up one of the new M3 MacBooks as well so you can see how this performance stacks up. Now, I also ran the Geekbench 5 OpenCL score, so this is a graphical test. Our score for this was 32,797. Once again, I'll throw some more numbers and results up on the screen for you guys to take a look at and compare. So, in terms of performance, this thing is not great. Graphics are still decent in comparison to some of the more modern computers. And really the selling point of this iMac is the display, which is just phenomenal. The 5K resolution is truly amazing. If you've never experienced it, then you're in for a treat. The colors are amazing. and the resolution is just unreal. For those of you who don't know, it is actually 1440p times 2. So if you can imagine what that resolution is and then multiply it by 2, that's how many pixels you get here on this 5K display. And it is gorgeous. Everything you do looks amazing, and to complement this display are these speakers, which are also phenomenal. Now let's go onto eBay and see just how much these things are selling for. So we'll do iMac 5K 2017. Let's go for lowest price, and we'll do a buy it now listing. Let's find one that doesn't have damage. So this one, it looked good, but I can see that there's an LCD line there, some damage. Here's one for $339. I wonder if this is in good working condition. It looks like we have some display kind of discoloration, maybe some moisture under there. Apart from that, looks pretty good. But the reason you're buying this is for the display. It's not for the performance. So you want one with a good display. This is a 4K model. They have that listed incorrectly. And LCD shadowing. You can see this dark corner over here. This one can barely even use most of the screen on that. Here's one that might be good. And it's got a crack there in the middle. Had my hopes up. So what's going to be the cheapest fully functional iMac? Maybe this one. So this looks to have the upgraded Radeon Pro 580 with 8 gigabytes of VRAM, but it's got a chip in the corner and it looks like maybe a crack going across the screen. All right, what about this one? Once again, we've got a crack in the display. It's so common to see iMacs with cracked displays. How about this one? $395 plus expensive shipping. But it comes in the original box, and that's a big deal because these things are so fragile. Oh, and you actually get the new wireless keyboard with Touch ID, but I don't think Touch ID works on Intel Mac computers. But this one looks to be in really good condition. Let's see, it just had service. Well, they replaced it with a hard drive. That's unfortunate. And they charged $120 for that. Wow. So this is a base configuration 2017 5K. It's got 8 gigabytes, 1 terabyte Fusion drive, Radeon Pro 570 for $395, and it looked like shipping $60. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina. So for $400, you can get one of these iMacs. Now, I think that's a pretty good deal. Depending on what you're going to use it for, that's what's going to make the difference. If you're doing some really intensive CPU and GPU tasks, then this might not be the one for you. But you can run boot camp on this thing. So if you're into gaming, this is actually not a terrible device for that. For $400, you're not going to be able to build a PC with a 4K or 5K display plus the specs that this thing has. It has an i5 7th gen along with pretty decent Radeon Pro AMD graphics. Should be able to play some somewhat modern games at 1080p or 1440p. So now let's talk about the ports on this thing. So if we zoom out and we spin the iMac around towards the back, we have a pretty diverse selection of ports. So starting from the left to right, we have headphone jack, SD card, we have 4 USB 3.0s, 2 Thunderbolt 3s, and an Ethernet port. Also worth noting is we have upgradable RAM. So this door opens and you have 4 slots that'll support up to, I believe, 128 gigabytes of storage. So that's pretty neat. Only the 5K models get that. 4K does not. Again, you've got the gorgeous design of these iMacs, razor thin at the edges, And once again, there's the beautiful 5K display. So there you have it. For $400, you could get one of these iMacs. Although I have to recommend you find one with a solid state drive, or you watch a video and upgrade this drive yourself. You can easily do that with one of these 2.5-inch SSDs. This is a 2 terabyte model. These are actually really cheap. You can find 2 terabytes for around $100 and 1 terabyte for between $40 and $60, depending on how fast you want the storage to be. I've got it hooked up to a Magic keyboard here, as well as a first generation Magic trackpad, which is great for video editing because I can do the gestures and scroll over the timeline. But there you have it. That's been a look at a 2017 5K iMac. And this has been a great computer for me. I used it for video editing for several months, produced a lot of good videos on there that hopefully you guys have enjoyed. But it's time for me to move on from this. And the video you're watching right now is probably going to be the very last one that I edit on this computer. So I'll get the files in there and work on this video. But that's been it for this one. I hope you enjoyed this look at an iMac. And if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.